Hi everyone, it's Librarian Faith from the Mandel Public Library of West Palm Beach. And today, I'm going to show you how to create your own fun and unique postcard using Collage and just some old magazines you have around your house. Let's get started, shall we? You'll need a few things to do this project. Firstly, you'll need a piece of cardboard or very sturdy cardstock that's about 3 inches by 6 inches. You'll need a couple of markers in whatever colors you like. I'm using blues and greens. A paintbrush that you don't mind maybe not using that much anymore. Some Mod Podge. Clear packing tape. Scissors. And plenty of old magazines that you don't mind cutting out. The first thing you'll want to do is decide on what kind of theme you want your postcard to have. I happen to have a bunch of beach and kind of island themed magazines, so I'm going to go for an ocean surfer, coral, fish kind of vibe. Then you'll cut out any pictures that you think would be relevant to your postcard. Bear in mind, you only have this much space you need to fill, and the pictures on magazines are typically a good bit bigger, so you don't need that many. As you can see here, I'm placing my photos on my postcard as I go along. This helps me figure out what types of photos I might want to include in my postcard and which ones I might not. Okay, now I have all the pieces I want to use for my postcard together. We'll go ahead and rearrange them to make sure we have the pages laid out just as we want it. And there we go. We have our postcard. You want to remember to take these off going from the top to the bottom and apply them with the bottom one first. So that would be this piece of paper. So then, you'll take your Mod Podge and a paintbrush that you might not want to use that much anymore. The reason I say that is that they become a little bit stiff if you don't clean them out just right, so it helps if you're not in love with them. And you'll take a little bit on your brush, about so, and apply a nice even layer on the board where you're going to place your first piece of your collage. Only have a moment to position it the way you want to, so I would suggest moving it quickly rather than slowly. And it's a-okay if they hang off the edge a little bit. You can trim those up with an X-Acto knife or a pair of scissors later. So then we'll take the next piece, another bit of sky. Don't apply a too thick layer of Mod Podge, otherwise you'll get bubbles in the paper. Now we'll let it dry for about an hour or so. You'll want to let it dry until you can tap it and it's not tacky anymore. In the meantime, make sure you wash out your brush, otherwise all the Mod Podge will harden in it and you definitely won't be able to use it anymore. Now for the last few steps. You're going to want to take an X-Acto knife or a pair of scissors. X-Acto knives are a bit easier, but if little ones are doing this crap, I'd recommend a pair of scissors. And then you'll use it to take off the edges of your postcard. Now that it's fully dry, it's a-okay to flip it upside down so that you can use that as your guide to trim the edges. And there we have it, nice clean edges. Then comes the fun part, writing your message and the address on the back of your card. I like to go ahead and sketch out where the stamp's going to be, because otherwise I will forget to leave room for it. And then trace right down the middle so that you have room for your address and your message. When you're writing your actual address, you'll need to write a bit smaller than this, but it serves as a good example. Also, I like to include a fun pun whenever I'm making these. So I'll go ahead and write on the back, now for the last part. I'm going to be using a clear packing tape. This acts as a sort of laminate to make sure that your postcard makes it through the mail without any trouble. This step isn't strictly necessary, but given that we live in South Florida and we've officially entered the rainy season, it's not a bad idea. And once again, we can trim off the edges, or we can fold it over. Depends on how messy your table is. As you can see, this one picked up a bit of scraps from the table, so do this on a cleaner surface than how I did it. And there we go, a fully laminated postcard. All that's left is a stamp and to go ahead and ship it off. When I mailed my first prototype of these, I found that it takes a full regular stamp to be able to mail them, as they're a little bit thicker than a regular postcard. I highly recommend it for children as well. Using all the scissors is good for their motor skill development, and they get to practice writing and addressing envelopes, which is always a handy thing for kids to try. I hope you enjoyed this craft. Be sure to tune in next week when I bring you another craft. Until then, happy crafting!